Hello, I am Todd Cotta, and welcome to Revuzit. Here on Revuzit, we talk about lots of different things, whether it's guns, vehicles, different consumer items, different gun store items, and today we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to talk about motorcycles today. Now, in the world of motorcycles, there are lots and lots and lots of different kinds of motorcycles out there for many different purposes and many different reasons. All the way from the little bikes, like I used to own a Honda Grom 125. Something I use to teach my kids how to ride, and it's fun to go to full throttle down the street and you're not going to push any limits with it, you know. All the way up to, I used to own a BMW R1200 GSA, the big adventure bikes, and everything in between. You have some guys that are into cruisers, you have some guys that are into sport bikes, other guys are into cafe racers and dirt bikes. The motorcycle industry is wide open. And what we're going to talk about today is the center or the core of the motorcycle market, the Honda NC750x. This motorcycle here really has no real home. It's not an adventure bike, it's not a cruiser, it's not a sport bike, it's not a cafe racer. It is what would be considered a commuter bike or a general all-purpose bike. I've had all kinds of bikes in the past, all the way from FZ09, MT09s to the big BMWs, all the way down to my first bike was a Suzuki Intruder from the early 90s. So I've ridden lots and lots of types and different kinds, and I was looking for a bike myself that was easy to ride, had utility, and was practical. So I started looking for a bike after I sold my FZ09, and this one kept on coming up on the radar because, once again, I'm not all about showing off. I'm not all about having a bike that everybody else has, but I'm about a bike that works well for me. And with the trunk up here, and with the center of gravity really low with the motor and the gas tank here, it was something that I really wanted to look at and see if it was what people were saying it was. Because you see all kinds of things on the internet. You see all kinds of pluses and minuses about all bikes. But because this bike doesn't fit in a pigeonhole, people don't like it. So for myself, I wanted to go give it a try, and I absolutely am glad I did, because I found this 2018 Honda NC750x for, oh gosh, close to half off retail at a local motorcycle shop up there in Fresno. And it came with all the bags and top cases and center stands and everything you can imagine already on the bike, because the prior owner installed it all. So I purchased it, and now I get to go out and see if it makes the standard, see if it is what I think it is and what people are saying. Because moving from a big bike like my big BMW R1200 GSA down to the little FZ09, and now moving back up a little bit bigger bike with smaller displacement to see how it works. So far I've been very happy with it, but let's get it out on the road. Okay, riding the 2018 Honda NC750x with a clutch. I'm not willing to go to automatic transmission bikes, not quite yet for me. I like the feeling of having control of the speed, when I want it, how I want it, and I love shifting bikes. So I chose to go with the standard transmission. You know, I go out of my way sometimes to find rental cars when I'm out of the country that are manual, because you can't find them anymore, and I really don't want to lose that feeling of shifting a car, just the whole feeling of it. But let's talk about this bike real quick. This bike has a reputation around the world as being the do-everything bike, right? I've heard them called the Swiss Army knife of bikes, and I think I get it. You know, my last three bikes, we talked about this earlier, was the BMW R1200 GSA and the FZ MT09 and from Yamaha. And this bike is completely different than both of those two bikes, with small similarities. So let me tell you real quick. First of all, the ride on this bike is very smooth. Extremely just pillowy. I don't know how else to say it nicely. But it's really kind of, I don't know. When I had my GSA, it was very top heavy, and you had to really watch yourself when you're riding it, and always keep in mind that you're riding around on a 600 plus pound bike. When I had my Yamaha FZ09, I always had to remember that I've got a whole bunch of horsepowers between my knees, and be nice, because that bike can bite you because it is so powerful. Then I come onto this bike when I first drove it a week and a half ago, and I realized that this bike has plenty of power, but not oh my god power. Not oh my god power. This bike is very light compared to my GSA, and not much heavier than my FZ09, but yet it's very agile, and it is almost, well, it's by far the simplest bike I've ever had to ride when it comes to having to manhandle or to ride a bike. I have the GV windscreen right here. This windscreen is a little bit taller than the stock one. I'm 6'2", and it's hit me right at the top of my helmet right here. I'll turn my vent on now. But it's hit me right at the top of my helmet, and there's a little bit of buffeting going on, but not bad. And I found that I really can't get into 6th gear. I can only go to 5th gear and not really over-rep the bike or go too fast. 55 miles an hour in 5th gear, I'm only running, 3,400 RPMs? It just cruises along like it's nobody's business. I've already used this trunk a few different times for storage. I have the tool kit in here now. I got a first aid kit in here now. I've got earplugs in here now. I've got all kinds of things like my registration. I tell you, I wish every bike had this tank feature here. It has made this bike even more of a treat to own, to know that I have, ample storage for simple things if I need to take something somewhere. Now, when I first got on this bike, I revved it out like I was driving my FC. Nope. This bike does not rev to 9,500 RPMs like my 09 did. This one here, at about 7,500 RPMs, the motor tells you, nope, no more. Which is Honda's way of keeping you from over-revving this engine, because it's a very, very tough engine. But if they keep the rev limit 2,000 RPMs below reckless, I guess you might say, it'll make this motor last longer and less wear and tear on the motor, and you still have plenty of power to get up to speed. I don't know how else to say it, but like I said, I've driven all the way from the tiny Groms all the way up to the big 1200 series bikes. I've driven scramblers, I've driven all kinds, and this one here is not going to set any land speed records. It's just not. This one here isn't the flashiest looking bike out there, although I think it's very sexy. It really isn't the race bike or anything else like that. But what it is a Cadillac in the old style, meaning it rides like it's on pillows. It's light up top because the tank is low and the engine's low, and it is an effortless ride. If you're looking at a skill level for this bike, I would put it right at about, medium to medium low. You really don't need a whole lot of cycling experience or bike experience to ride this bike well, versus a GSA 1200, 1250, or the FZ09.
I would never recommend a new rider jumping on top of a big bagger or the big tall bikes, or sitting on a bike that's 100 horsepower between your knee, and if you've blipped that throttle just right, that bike is going to go flying out of your hands. It takes time and it takes a lot of experience, a lot of seat time to get used to these really quick naked bikes, these leader bikes, these sport bikes. When we talk about riding, any riding you do will make you a better rider as long as you follow the fundamentals. Any riding that you do, whether it's straight roads or mountains or city driving, county driving, highways, makes you a better driver the more seat time you get. But just know that you think you want one of these big bikes, spend a year or two riding around on something in that 600 to 700 class like this. For me, I don't need rocket speed, but I do want to travel. I want to do distance, but I don't want a 650-pound bike. I don't want a leader bike. I want something that is just easy to handle with just very simple functions on the bike. Once again, I've always been the kind of person that I find the bike that fits my needs the best. And this one here, for this time in my life, fits it just right. Now, that being said, if you are a guy that has to have a cruiser, then that's you. If you're a guy that needs a sport bike because sport bikes are what's really it for you, that's fine. I talked to some today up at BMW. Those guys and their bikes are wonderful. If you like the Scrambler retro style bikes, fantastic. This whole world can get along with lots of different bikes. If you're looking for a bike, for a commuter bike, if you're looking for a bike that is a utility bike that you can put bags on and you can do day trips and have it run good and be reliable, then this is probably the bike that would fit you. I watched lots of different videos on this bike, and I just want to let you know that one of them started off with boring in the very first title screen of the video, and then he proceeded to talk about how cool and how awesome this bike is. And I said, you know what, I want to try one. I'm between bikes right now. Let me go get a bike. I really miss riding, so I picked this one up. Got it for almost 50% off, half off a new bike at 2021, which aren't even available right now. So I figure why not give it a try and see if it's what everybody says it is. And I have found that if there was a bike that was ever made for me, the Honda NC750x with the manual transmission is the bike that Honda made just for me. And now we've got all these barriers up here. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Smash that subscribe button right below. Rebel Radio and King's Gun Center TV and Revuzit. We're all about just showing you new things and giving you new experiences. Thank you so much for the ride today. You guys have a great day. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend, because that's when this is happening. And if you're out there riding, you guys be safe. Have a great day.